stuck in my head.
I want to go there. Only 11? Okay, I'll go.
That's what he said, 11. He picked that number. I don't know why. So you'd be happy with 11. Is that what you're saying?
If we're only 11, that would be great.
Well, but what do you feel about the relationship now between communist China and America? Where they're buying our credit,
Our
there,
debt.
our
yes,
debt. I meant
yes,
they're
yes,
buying our debt so we can continue these wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and where else.
Yes.
What
Well,
if they pulled the plug?
we would all have a lot of adjusting to do if they did that. They would as well. But I have 2 degrees in international relations and politics, and the overall conclusion that I've come to is that when you look at governments and you look at politics, there's always a lot of ugliness. You have to look at people, and that's where the hope is.
For example, you said before that the Chinese people are sort of nice. Is that a good word?
Oh, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. The woman I lived with, my roommate, when I studied there, brought me home to her family, and they lived in a very small apartment, a mother and a father and the daughter, and they had 2 children because they had twins. In China, there's a one-child policy. Well, they had gotten around the one-child policy by having twins. So 4 people living in a one-bedroom apartment with a tiny kitchen, a tiny bathroom, and they opened their home to me. They gave me the bedroom. And
So what's left for them?
They slept on mats in the living room. And they asked me what I liked to eat. And I said, oh, I like to eat everything. Whatever you serve me, I will eat. They said, do you like shrimp? And I said, oh, I love shrimp. So the father went out and he bought a bag of living shrimp. He came home and he was holding the bag and the shrimp were all squeaking inside the bag. And then they served me shrimp at every meal.
Oh.
At breakfast, at lunch, at dinner.
They do the shrimp differently?
At breakfast the next day. No, they boiled them and they added some spices. But they catered to me the whole weekend. And this was a relatively poor family, but I'd never felt more welcomed in my life than when I was with them.
Did you ever talk politics? Say, what do you think of America or anything like that?
Not with the parents, but with the daughter.
Okay.
And I found that she didn't know a lot about her own government. They don't have as free information there as we have, in America. And not only that, but the criticism culture, where we have all these shows that will either support the government or criticize the government, and maybe in the end you can hope to reach some bit of truth. They don't have that culture. So she didn't know a lot of the nuances of her government, which made it difficult to really talk politics. She also didn't know about Tiananmen Square.
She didn't?
She didn't.
How old would she have been then? You think?
Oh, small, maybe 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You talk to anybody who knew about the Tiananmen Square? Or you didn't dare?
I did. I have talked to a few people, but it just in general, there is not a lot of information about it available. So if young Chinese people have heard about it, it's probably rumors. They've heard rumors, but they've not been taught it in school. So they don't know a lot of the facts.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Tell me about this book now. Here, can we get a shot of this, somebody? I'm going to put it up here. And you tell me about Berlin. I mean, would you want to move there?
Well, I did live there already for 1 year, and
Yeah.
it was an exciting year. If I had to live in Berlin, I would do so very happily.
How do they feel about America?
Well, they were much harder on America in Berlin than they are in China, believe it or not. I was there post 9/11, and I heard a lot of criticisms of American foreign policy. Germans in general are very political and have a lot to say and know a lot of the nuances of the political situation, more so than I did at the time. They gave me a hard time.
Nazi Germany a dead issue now? Nobody ever talks about it?
It is not dead. It is very much alive in terms of what I mean is the young Germans feeling like they still have to make up for it. They still have that.
They feel guilty about
They feel
all
guilty.
that, huh?
Yes, yes.
That's good.
Yeah, it's still the guilt is very much alive, and the feeling that they will never let it happen again is very much alive.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's great to know.
Do they know who Hitler was?
They all know who Hitler.
Go ahead.
Okay, Ingrid, with these travels, we've been in Germany and all the surrounding countries and all, and Japan. Excuse me, been to Japan? No.
Just for one night.
Oh, okay, but China and all. What has that done for your perspective? I mean, as opposed to somebody who hasn't traveled anywhere, maybe.
Yes, well, it's made a big impact on my perspective, certainly, and it's made it difficult to hold one view and stick to it. Having traveled and talked to so many different types of people, you realize that there's new information all the time that you didn't realize, and so your view becomes very, very wide, and you constantly hold the door open for it to change. But perhaps the most important thing is that you realize when you're talking about a country, within that country is so many different elements. There's the government, there's the people, there's business, there's civil society, there's just people. So you can't look at a country as one element. You have to look at the different elements within the country.
Well, I mean, could I ask you a direct question again about Afghanistan and Iraq? I mean, does this make sense to you with your experience?
Our involvement in the conflicts there doesn't make sense. That is a tough question, and I guess no.
Well, I realize it's tough because our diplomats can't solve it. You know what I mean? And they're doing it all day long. They're working on those things. But
we won't solve it overnight. I'll say that. I think both of these conflicts are going to be long-term projects.
Well, I think for a young lady like you, with all your experience and your master's degrees and in this book here, can we take a shot of this book again? This is Ingrid Anders right here, Earth to Kat Vespucci. And you can get this everywhere. Now, she says if you send in to email to author@ingridanders.com, and you're lucky, she might pick you as a winner and send you a book. Is that right?
That's right.
I'm glad to meet you because you're sharp as a tack.